What's up, everybody? Janine Beckie here, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Thorns World Tour. I'm your host. For those of you that listened to the last episode, thank you. It was an intro episode, so this one will be a little bit more lengthy and in-depth. So if you're looking for analysis of the games, you're going to find that here. And yeah, let's jump right into it. But first, I have coffee. This week has absolutely kicked my you-know-what. We will not use that language on this podcast, but you know exactly what I'm going for. The 5 a.m. Canada kickoff was rough for me. I had set my alarm for 4:55 a.m. on the West Coast. I got up at 4:45 a.m. with like nerves, high anticipation, all that good stuff, and very quickly realized I was not going to be able to stay still. Had my first coffee in me. The first goal from Ireland really woke me up. Katie McCabe and Olympico. I just have to say, like, that would only happen to Canada at a World Cup. In the best way. It was a fantastic goal. But first half, thought both teams came out strong in the first 5 or 10 minutes. The conditions were crazy. It was like super wet, super windy. Hard to say where the ball was going to go. But I mean, got to give props to Ireland. They really came out. They have a good team. Denise O'Sullivan, NWSL star. I thought she was fantastic. They're super physical, super aggressive, and they were kind of all over us in the first half. Obviously with the first goal, and then the equalizing goal came in stoppage time of the first half. Another goal in result of the conditions of the field, which was, you got a little bit of luck on your side. You need a little bit of luck on your side in major tournaments to do well. And I will say that time and time again. I feel like, some people see luck as a cop-out, but all the best teams, all the winning teams have a little bit of luck on their side. So I'm fine with that. 1-1 going into halftime. Again, I thought Ireland, probably dominated the first half. Canada definitely had its chances. I thought that we didn't shoot enough from the outside of the box. Maybe didn't take our half chances as much as we should, but defended our own box really well. I think it was just such tough conditions for both teams. When a field is that wet, you don't have any idea what the ball's going to do. So fast forward to beginning of the second half. Legend Christine Sinclair subbed into the game along with Sophie Schmidt, and Shalina Zdorsky came on at halftime as well. And got to give props to Bev. I thought the subs she made were fantastic, not a result of who was playing in the first half, but just a change of rhythm. I thought Sophie Schmidt was fantastic, controlled the game so well, kept it simple, kept it composed, which is just like Sophie in a nutshell. She is just like that one leader player that can always be relied upon. So that was great. I thought Sink came into the game really well. And Canada just seemed like they had a bit more control in the second half. I thought they used the width a little bit better to build up, play outside of Ireland, and then get the ball inside midfield of Jessie Fleming, Sophie Schmidt, and Quinn. I thought Quinn was also fantastic. But no doubt Ireland kept the pressure on. And Canada scored a fantastic second goal. Ball comes into Sophie Schmidt. She controls it, plays this beautiful bending ball kind of in the air to Adriana Leon, takes a beautiful first touch and kind of slots it home. I think she scored with her toe, which again, a goal is a goal, however it's scored. The first goal, it's a goal. The second goal, it's a goal. Very different ways to score, but hey, it works. Game ends 2-1. My heart rate was way higher than it should have been at that time of the morning, but they made the early wake up worth it, along with quite a lot of anxiety, but that is just the reality, isn't it? So Wednesday was a rough day for me trying to get through the day. And then, of course, we come to the rematch of the 2019 Women's World Cup final. Holland, the Netherlands, whichever you prefer, against the United States. A highly anticipated game, probably the most high-level game in terms of ranking so far in this tournament. I think there was some 6.5 million viewers or something. Don't hold me to that. That's just off the top of my head. There's not many games I've watched where I was more maybe obviously the Canada game, but more into it than those 90 minutes. Sophia Smith and Crystal Dunn are Thornies getting the start in that one. Both would go on to play 90 minutes, I believe. Interesting game. I thought the US really dominated the first 10 or so minutes. Seemed like Holland was a bit on their heels, a little bit unsure. A lot of balls coming into Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman in the width. I thought Soph had some fantastic turns centrally in that first half, but they really couldn't find clear options to get into the box. And then I think as the half went on, the Dutch just built in confidence. They get their first opportunity on goal, and it's a goal, which as the opposing team is just super frustrating to handle, where you feel like you have a good control of the game in the first however many minutes, and then the first time really that this team drives down to your defending half, they score, and it's a little bit of a punch in the gut. And I thought that was kind of the way that the rest of the first half played out. I thought the Dutch did a really good job controlling the tempo, really shutting down the threats of the US. And I can only imagine what was said at halftime for both of those teams. But you sub Rose Lavelle on in the second half, and I thought the game really changed. And the US became a lot more aggressive on the ball, a lot more numbers in the attacking half, a lot more numbers around the box. I thought Rose had a really good impact on the game. And then you have that ridiculous tackle on Lindsey Horan. And you know what they say, don't poke the bear, because my goodness, she came back with a vengeance on that goal. But obviously we have so much love for Lindsey Horan in this city. Former Thorny, an absolute club legend. And I know Thorns fans have seen Lindsey score that goal so many times. But I think this one had a little bit more spice to it for her. So I think there's so many incredible storylines in that game. Probably the Van de Donk challenge on Lindsey Horan being the most notable, and then her saying, okay, well, I'm just going to go score on you. Fantastic goal. They're right back in it. And then I thought the US really dominated the rest of the game. I think that goal spurred them onto a little bit more confidence. I thought they were more assertive and decisive with how they were playing. When you play with wingers like Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman, you don't see a lot of crosses coming into the box for the US because they're dribblers and they want to get into the box themselves. So I think it's an interesting front three of Smith, Rodman, and Alex Morgan, because Alex Morgan is obviously a player who relies on a lot of service. And when you have Trinity and Sophia on the outside, they're dribbling into the box to create for other people or create for themselves more often than maybe someone like a Lynn Williams, who's also a dribbler, but crosses the ball a little bit more consistently. So I was a little surprised not to see more changes later in the game from the US, but you never know kind of what their strategy is and what they're thinking for the final game. So I would be surprised if we didn't see some changes in the lineup for the next game. But also noticed that Soph had a hairstyle change at halftime. So she went from the braid to the bun. So we'll have to investigate the reasons for that. As someone with long hair myself, not beautiful locks like Soph. She's got some great hair. Usually there's a reason for the hair change. So we'll have to get into that a little bit later. So US goes away with a point from that game. Group's on the line in the next game against Portugal. So we'll see how that goes down. Group is also on the line for Canada. What will end up being the biggest game of the tournament thus far. Another early wake up for me. This one even earlier. I'm sure I'll be awake at 2:45. Who knows if I'll even go to bed for the 3 a.m. Canada-Australia kickoff. Big question mark. Is Sam Kerr going to play in that game? If I'm Australia and there's any percentage chance she can play, I'm putting her on the field. But obviously, full belief in my Canucks that they will get the job done. Get the job done enough to win the group. That's the priority. But come on, Ireland. Pull out a result against Nigeria. Nigeria, by the way, so impressive. Such an impressive World Cup that they've had. We keep saying that the bar is just the level is just getting so much more close, and the gap in women's football is closing every year, every time the Women's World Cup comes around. And it's just so great to see these games be so competitive. Speaking of our last match that the Thornies were involved in this second round was our favorite Japanese player, Hina Sugita, and our favorite Costa Rican, Raquel Rodríguez, coming up against each other in the second round of the World Cup. Japan comes out of this one 2-0, score both of their goals pretty close proximity in the first half. Hina started, played the full 90 minutes. Rocky came on at 64, played just under 30 minutes, and so happy to see Rocky back on the world stage. Wasn't able to play in that first game due to a complication with her injury, but so great to see her play with that Costa Rican team. You can just see how different they are when Rocky is on the pitch with them. Japan, with the higher percentage of possession at 57%, I think they had quite a wild amount of shots on goal, or shots, I should say, as well. So Japan really kind of dominating that game. But as somebody who's played against Costa Rica many times, you can never count them out. They're such a difficult team to play against. They've got some incredibly technical players. I mean, you look at the likes of Iraqi, and they've got a lot of similar profiles on that team. So it's great to see them back on the World Cup stage. They as well have closed the gap and just continue to get better. But this Japanese team really is something. It's an exciting group. They've scored 7 goals so far in this World Cup, 5-0 in their first game, obviously 2-0 in this one. And they are an exciting team to watch. They play such beautiful football. And for all of our Thorns fans that get to see Hina Sugita twisting and turning and twirling and getting out of any possible type of challenge with ease that we get to see week in and week out. It was so great to see her on the pitch. She played in a wingback role in this team, which is a little bit different, a little bit deeper than we see her play with the Thorns. But I mean, this player could play anywhere on the field, let's be honest. So Japan dominating that one. Costa Rica having a late chance on goal, didn't capitalize. But yeah, nonetheless, great to see our two Thornies go up against each other. So that's it from me for episode 2 of Thorns on World Tour. Thank you so much for listening. Hope that was a little bit of insight into how I watch the game as a player. My anxiety is high. My caffeine levels are high. I am absolutely going to try and get as much rest as possible this weekend, but we have the Thorns against Angel City tomorrow night, Saturday night in the Challenge Cup. Really needing those 3 points as the Thorns. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you keep tuning into these games. It's been absolutely incredible to see the viewership numbers in this Women's World Cup, the ticket sales, all of it just makes my heart burst with joy. I'm not at all surprised with the interest that is growing in the women's game, but keep watching, keep being a fan, keep listening to content like this, creating your own content, any kind of conversations that can be had around this game, the more the merrier, as they say. So that's it for me on episode 2. I'm going to go ahead and finish my coffee and see if I can get some rest this weekend. So you'll see me up, awake, 3 a.m. Monday morning, Canada, Australia, and I'll be back after that last group stage match to give you guys the lowdown on how those games pan out. Me, Janine Beckie, signing off. I'll talk to you guys all very soon.